welcome again to our Fit Executives Roundtable. We have the distinct honor of having Priscilla Bullock with us, who is a partner at PwC. She specializes in corporate and partnership tax compliance, and her main clients are in the banking and capital markets area, which is basically what my background was for 20 years. So welcome, Priscilla.
Hello, good to be here.
Thanks for joining us. And of course, my hubs, Christopher Richards Wise, is in the house,
Hello. Hi,
uh,
Priscilla.
helping this conversation to move along. So, Priscilla, in preparation for this, I actually got the form you filled out when you first reached out to us.
That could be entertaining.
Oh, yes, it's going to be very entertaining. So, one of the things we asked you in the forum was, do you have a picture that depicts the physique you're looking for, right?
I don't even remember what I said.
Your answer was, I could find one, but mostly looking to go back to the physique of 10 years ago.
Yes.
So tell me, we're about to wrap up our 6-month VIP program on September 28th. And how would you describe your physique now versus 10 years ago?
It's actually probably better than 10 years ago. It's funny because I was today I just scheduled my executive health exam, and I just happened to pull up like, hey, what did my report look like last year? So it shows you the report on the first time you ever did one, and then it shows you up until the last year you did it. So it shows you the first and last. And I
Uh-huh,
looked at the report. The first one I ever did was when I was 27,
uh-huh.
and it showed me my weight and BMI at 27. And then it showed me last year, which we won't even talk about. That was just bad. That was at my, like, the height,
Okay.
the heaviest I've ever been. And literally my BMI is now less than it was at 27.
Wow. So what was the weight? What was the weight at 27?
So I think my weight is like at the same weight. I think it was like 137 at
Uh-huh.
27 years old. Yeah. And so
Uh,
it showed my BMI like 22 point something. And I was like, I'm at the same like range as a 27-year-old. So I just went back more than 10 years. So thrilled.
wow. Because just for the viewers, Priscilla and I are the same age. I think I turned 43 before you. You're turning 43 in December, right?
Yeah, I try to take the whole year before we get there.
Yeah. 42 and some change. Uh,
Exactly.
so
So
that's
so just to put that in perspective, you look better and feel better now at 42.7 than you did at 27.
Right.
woo.
So.
That's a bold statement. That's really
Yes,
good.
I feel very close to 27, how I felt, but now I actually feel stronger because I've been doing, back then it was just, good DNA, probably. I wasn't eating like the best, probably. I was into health and fitness a little bit because I would always like to work out and keep myself looking a certain way. But now I'm way more focused on what am I eating, what am I putting in my body, and as well as the strength training in addition to cardio. I think at 27, I probably was just focused on things like insanity and less, more like the how high intensity training. um,
Right, right.
but it's a little bit different now. I'm not doing all that jumping at 43.
Too old for that. All right. So the other question we had on our forum was describe how you would like to feel. And you said you wanted to feel light, happy about getting dressed in the morning again. So tell
Yes.
us where you are with that.
Well, I definitely feel light. I could go for some food right now, but I'm just joking. For those who you don't know, I like to eat, so I talk about food all the time. But but I definitely enjoy getting dressed now. The new problem now getting dressed is that nothing fits, but in the opposite direction. Before it was like I can't zip this up, and now it's like every time I go to wear something, it no longer fits because it's too big. And then it's like, okay. And then it was funny because as I was losing weight again, I had so many different sizes in my closet that I was having fun, wearing all the clothes as I stepped down. And then it was some things that I really, really liked that I skipped over those. I never had a chance to wear them still because I lost the weight so fast that I never got a chance to wear it. And by the time I tried, it was like, well, that still doesn't fit.
So,
So
tell me a little bit about your closet. What were the size ranges in your closet?
So it was very crazy. The ranges in my closet were like 4 to 14. I
Size
think
4 to 15.
4 to 14.
So when you started the
You
program,
never know.
Yeah, you never know. This is what was happening over the past. It really would happen really fast, but slow at the same time. It was kind of a gradual increase at first because I stayed the same size for the longest. And then I think around like mid 30s, I start gaining like 5 pounds a year. And then I was like, oh my goodness, this is getting out of hand. And then so after a while, I had gotten up to, okay, probably 25 pounds over the amount that I was like, I would never go over this amount. And I found myself 25 pounds later. So that's how I ended up getting all those sizes. I had gotten rid of most of my fours, but it was certain things that I really love this, maybe one day. And this was going to be finally the year I was about to clean up my closet. I actually had started like the week before I talked to Kareem and signed up for a Fit Hidden Figure. I had gotten rid of so much of like my favorite things because I was like, you're never going to get this. You're never going to wear this again. Um, and so now I'm like, man, I wish I didn't give
Never
it away.
give up on your dreams. Never give up on your dreams.
I know, but I kept a select few that I was like, I really like these things. I'm not going to give them away yet. So glad I didn't do that.
So let's put numbers in perspective. Would you say that you were running about 140 pounds for a while and then you shot up to 165? That's the 25 pound difference you're talking about, with a
Yeah.
5 pounds adding on every year until you got to 165, and then you're like, I'm done.
Yes. But
Okay.
this is
All right.
enough.
So when you started with the program, were you a size 14?
Yes.
Okay. And now you're a size 4.
Right.
Okay. Perfect. So you shot the whole gamut of your class.
The whole thing.
Wow.
Size 14 to size 4.
So I was just having fun in the whole closet. And now it's getting to the point where I probably should go shopping, but
I am not going to allow you to lose any more weight. I think you're sitting at about 137, 138. That's about right. We're just maintaining that weight and just putting on some muscle, to fill out those muscle bellies. So yeah, I was shocked now,
yeah.
Yeah, 6 months VIP program is wrapping up. It's time to go shopping. All right. So the other question we asked was, what's holding you back from reaching your goals? And you said busy schedule, which your schedule is still busy. That hasn't changed.
Yes.
But somehow we were able to fit this in. So tell me about, what kind of adjustments you had to make to, being a partner at PwC and also balancing out your health and fitness to the point of losing 35 pounds of fat and gaining 10 pounds of muscle is no small feat. So give the listeners some tips on what really helped you to get this kind of result with this grueling schedule?
Really, it was just the accountability. And I didn't know, I thought I was eating okay. I knew I wasn't eating great, but I thought I was eating not too bad sometimes. I thought I was eating not too bad, and I always enjoyed cardio, so I still would jog periodically, jog walk like intervals. But what starts to happen would be if I didn't work out first thing in the morning, then after a busy day of work, I just was not about to start working out because I was tired. And
Mhm.
because of the long hours, if I hadn't planned for it or if it was just kind of haphazard, I wasn't making time to actually work out. So what helped me was I got an actual trainer to come to my house at 5:30 in the morning. And if a trainer is showing up at 5:30 in the morning, you can't not answer, right? So you have to answer the door. If someone's coming to your house and helping you do the workouts and the strength training at home, then you have to do it. And plus, Kareem, you were monitoring us like, a hawk. If we didn't do a workout on time, if we ate too much, like got to the point, it was like, we're scared Kareem is going to fuss at us, so we have to eat right. Um,
So,
so the accountability and having someone to actually show up for you to help you through the process was really what was the game changer.
Got you.
no, I would completely agree, but I wanted to see if you couldn't expand on a little more. So sometimes when we get new clients, they have this fear like, oh my goodness, it's going to be like, drill sergeant or boot camp or something along those lines. But
Mhm.
we use science and technology. Like we don't have to convince you, right, that what we're doing is just because we don't like you or because, you're paying us to text you 50 times a day. There's a reason, there's a method to the madness, right? So when you described you're at 27 and you're better now, like I guess tell the listeners like how our approach, right? Science and technology, showing you numbers, the DEXA scan, the VO2
Mhm.
helps reinforce getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning or reinforces, okay, you know what? I'm doing it this way because I can see the results, not just that you feel the results.
Right. Exactly. So first, when I gave Kareem my goals when I first started out, and she made it sound like it was going to be easy. And I was looking at her like, I've been trying for I don't know how many years, and you said it's going to be easy. So one, I wanted to challenge that assumption that she could even do this because I really didn't fully believe.
Have to
I was still a slight skeptic. Okay. So I was like, yeah, right. This is not going to be so easy in 6 months. And so when I did the first DEXA scan, it really was eye-opening to see, hey, what does your bone density look like? What is your composition that's fat? What's your composition that's muscle? And honestly, the first one was like, this is gross. I was like, I need help. And let's see what happens. And so I think I did my first DEXA scan, my second one, and like 2 weeks later, and I was like, Green, I mean, I just started. Like, why am I checking again in 2 weeks? I should be checking again in a month, right? And she was like, no, I want to see if what your meal plan is working or your workouts working effectively. And then when I immediately saw improvements on that first DEXA scan that I had lost, I don't know, in that first week, it was something ridiculous. The first 2 weeks, it was something like I didn't imagine that I was really going to lose that much in 2 weeks. So, so I was like, okay, this does work. So I adjusted to eating less. I was a sugar fanatic. So that was like an adjustment. And most of my days, because I worked so much, I was just ordering it out and ordering food to be delivered. But having that clean food and somebody helping me work out and seeing the progress after 2 weeks, I was like, okay, this might just work. And then I did some more, and 2 weeks later, she was like, I need you to do another scan. I was like, great. Why? And so after we saw effectively, and I think that's why she did it, so that I could see the progress and the improvements and get more motivated. And as I got more motivated, I was like, okay, this might actually work. And after the first month of losing, like, I was like, if I can lose this much in a month, let's see, like,
Oh,
let's see what happens. And I'm a numbers person, so I'm like, okay, we can do this. So each time it was like more and more improvements, more fat loss, more muscle gain. And so just to see that happening when I had been trying to do this on my own for years, essentially. And I was like, oh, man, I remember when I was like 27 and I could eat all kinds of just junk. And then I just go running for like 2 days and it's all gone. And it was not happening in your 30s and 40s. And so I was like, this is almost feeling like that. Like I can literally lose weight quickly in my 40s. And that's not very common. So I knew she had found, something that was scientific that really truly worked. And seeing those numbers just increase the motivation to do more and enjoy the process even more. Even the icon meals start tasting better after a while.
Got it. So, Chris, did you pull up her DEXA scan to get the numbers? How much did she lose in the first 2 weeks?
So her first DEXA scan was on March 28th, and then she went back on April 6th, and that was 1 pound. And then you made her go back 10 days later. She lost another 3.5 pounds. And you made her go back 10 days later, and she lost another 5.5 pounds. So in a 1 month span, she lost 9.8 pounds and put on 3.2 pounds of muscle. So really a transformational change. The weight didn't go down because we specialize in fat loss and muscle gain, so we can retain your shape. But it was almost 10 pounds of fat in the first 28 days.
So I wanted to point out something that is very subtle here for the listeners to understand. If you listen to Priscilla clearly, she was very skeptical as to whether or not, because I told her we would be able to lose 30 pounds of body fat, like cut her body fat in half, in 6 months. And she looked at me like I was crazy. Okay. So I said to myself, well, she is a partner at PwC specializing in tax. So I bet if she see the numbers, it will convince her that this will work. So typically we don't do a follow-up DEXA scan until a month later. But given your predisposition and your love for numbers, like if you see the actual number, you know what these numbers mean, right? And so that's why I had you go to the DEXA scan early to get your buy-in as quickly as possible. And then also, I think you went on a trip, and I wasn't sure if you were compliant on the trip because I didn't have enough eyes on you on the trip, and I wanted to make sure. And you surprised me. You stayed consistent while traveling. You got more steps while you were traveling. You were burning more calories. You actually did the workout. We even did a vacation workout plan for you, and you got the workout done. So tell the listeners a bit about how you were able to stay so, on point while on vacation, actually. I know you didn't have your meals, but you had to have been mindful of what you're eating and just staying more active while being on vacation.
Yeah. So by the time I went to Paris at the end of May, it had kind of been, I think I had been on the program for like almost 2 months, close to 2 months, maybe a little shy of that. And so by that time, I think I had lost like 16 pounds. So by that time, I was like, "Ooh, I'm cute." I'm feeling starting to feel like myself again. And then I was like, okay, all right, I'm gonna try to be very mindful. It's Paris. Oh my goodness. My favorite dessert is like macarons, and I love bread. And I hadn't really been eating that for 2 months at this point. No sugar and like no, no bread. And so I was like, this is gonna be a challenge. But I knew I was gonna cheat some. But I would still make sure I got all my workouts in. And we would still walk excessive amount. My sister was like, are we walking here, there? And she's always game for it. So we walked miles and miles, like for all our touristy things. And so I think I was averaging almost close to like 25,000, 30,000 steps. So when I ate a baguette or when I ate macarons, I was following it up like with the walks and doing the exercises in the morning. So even though I did probably eat too much chocolate and macarons and baguettes, I only gained like a net, like maybe 3 pounds, which Kareem was like, you had a lot of fun in Paris. And I was like, if you saw what I ate, then yes, I did have a lot of fun in Paris. But as soon as I got back, I quickly got back on the regimen and the 3 pounds literally fell off in that same week. So that by the time I did the DEXA scan, because she was like, I'm not sure what you did, it was still showing results where I still had weight loss, I still had fat loss, even despite going to Paris and enjoying myself. So it
So,
kind of showed me like, hey, you can have that appropriate balance. Like a lot of times people think if I overly restrict myself, I won't be able to maintain this or I won't be able to do this. But through this process, I've kind of learned, hey, how do you incorporate those things when you're having a vacation or a family time? Being mindful of like, hey, how to choose more of the proteins and, the vegetables and the lighter side of the carbs and not going crazy with like bread and sugar. Because if you're filled up otherwise, you will eat less of that. And being mindful of that, it really helped throughout the process. And it kind of has taught me better behaviors going forward that if I'm out of town and I splurge, then I know the next few days I'm going to get back on task and not lose traction of the results.
so what I'm hearing is this, is that what you're describing is I had the treats, which means that you had more calories than usual. But what happened was you also had more activity than usual.
Mhm.
So you still kept that caloric deficit even
Right.
while being on vacation. So as long as there's a caloric deficit, you will have the fat loss. Now, yes, your weight went up because most of these foods are high in sodium. So you will retain the water weight, right? But fat loss is still happening. So when you came back and got back on your regular meals, the weight came back down. It's pretty much losing that water, but that fat loss that was happening through the trip still maintained the same. So yeah, the science worked. The science really worked.
Yes.
So tell us, let's just get some numbers, some facts straight. What are your exact results that you got from the Fit Hidden Figure system?
So over the course of the program, and we're coming up on 6 months on the 28th, but on my last DEXA scan, which was like, I think the September 11th, I believe was the last scan, I had lost um, 35 pounds, I think, of fat and gained 10 pounds of muscle for a net 25 pounds off the scales. So Kareem outdid herself. She said 30, it was 35. She promised 30 and we got 35 and we still have 8 more days. So more than I really could have ever imagined over the course of the 6 months. Definitely pleased, definitely money well spent because I was like, I'm throwing this cash down. Let's see what she makes happen. And it really, really, really does work. And so I'm happy and pleased with the progress.
So can
And
I add something?
yeah,
Mhm.
go.
I wanted to add something because I think if the listeners are not grasping the full mindset here, right? You started in March. You're a tax partner. This is tax season.
Yes, it's been rough.
Okay. I remember your first DEXA scan. Crane says, "All right, we have Priscilla coming over to go over the results." That's typical, right? Come over after DEXA scan, and then she looks at me. She goes, "And we're going to do a glute training." I'm like, "Wait, did she like? She just started today, right? Well, she wants to start training right away." And I'm like, "And she wants to start with you on glutes, like the first day." And people may not understand that, but if they go on her profile, they'll see it. So I knew right then, I'm like, oh, you said, how does she know it's going to be easy? I knew from the first DEXA scan, your mindset, tax season, executive partner at largest law, accounting law or accounting firm in the middle of tax season, and you're coming over to work out on the first day of a DEXA scan. I'm like, oh, let me just get the pictures ready because I just know it's going to be, you know, amazing. And the other thing I wanted to make sure we don't gloss over is how's your overall health? Like how, you know, you went down, you lost a whole, you have no visceral fat, right? You have no fat around your organs. Like you've increased your health capacity. And I think all of those things are subtle outcomes of our program,
Yeah.
how we eat and how we train. But honestly, kudos to you for doing this during tax season. Like, I'm like, are we sure, Green? Like, we want to take a tax accountant during tax season and expect them to like live?
It
Like,
actually, it actually helped, honestly. So, of course, we have so many busy season cycles. So I just came off another one for September 15th or September 16th since it fell on the weekend. And going through another one for October 15th. But what actually has helped normally during busy season, I'm just grabbing like snacks. Like I'm ordering food, I'm just sitting at my desk being still and just ordering Uber Eats. And because I have a program that's I have food and it's telling me what to eat. I don't have to think about what I'm eating because it's already there for me. So I'm not reaching to grab the cookies and chips and the snacks because I know I'm going to the kitchen and I'm getting the meal that's part of the program. And it actually has been more helpful because I don't have to think about what I'm getting ready to eat. I don't have to think about, oh my goodness, I've been working so many hours and I don't have anything. Let me just order something quickly and I order the worst possible things because
So,
you working hard, you want a treat at all times. So you're like, I deserve this. But now you say, I deserve it and I'm going to eat something healthy.
so, what you're describing is what I like to call delegate to elevate, right? You're really good at corporate tax. So you use all your intellectual capacity to help your clients in corporate tax. Leave what you get to eat, how you train, delegate that to somebody else. Let that be my problem. That's no longer your problem, right? Just when we send our trainer to your house, just do the workout, just follow instructions. Don't even think about it. Just focus on corporate tax and let us focus on the rest of it. And you're really good at delegating that task. You really literally handed over to us 100% and you went right into it, which, let me wonder about, before you were ordering Uber Eats, and then we have our meal prep provider, Icon Meals, that provide foods to our VIP clients. Do you have a sense? I don't know if you've looked into it, how much you spend on food now with Icon Meals versus when you were doing Uber Eats?
So if I think about it, well, a lot of people would think, oh, a meal plan program is expensive, and it probably is more expensive in the concept of what you would think, hey, I'm going to grab a meal, am I going to pay this much? But when I would order Uber Eats, I was spending probably like $50. Like with all the fees and charges, it's like, okay, let me grab dinner. It could be anywhere from like $50 to like 65 because of all the fees and excess things that they were adding. And then I would order like, oh, I want the meal. Oh, I want appetizer. Oh, I want dessert. So I was spending a lot of money on Uber Eats. So I didn't feel like a difference by the time I had to get meal prep program. I didn't feel like it was expensive because I knew I was spending just as much, if not more, on Uber Eats on a weekly basis. And I was getting a whole lot more food.
And just to break it down for the listeners, so what Priscilla is saying is that $50 to $65 on Uber Eats, whereas our meal prep provider is about $12 to $13 per meal, right? So you do the math, over time, and then you're getting about 3 meals per day, right? So do the math, you're spending a significant amount less on food, right? And you're eating healthy at the same time.
Right, because it's crazy because literally now I order like 3 to 4 meals a day. And then that's the equivalent price for the week of me ordering like 1 to 2 Uber Eats meals a day that I was eating, sometimes even one. And clearly I was still eating that one ginormous meal was unhealthy and eating snacks and other things the rest of the day. So I was doing Uber Eats plus the random snacks I'm getting from the grocery store. So the bill was definitely tabulating when I could have had way more food that was healthier.
Yeah, yeah. So tell the listeners roughly about how much protein you eat in a day, how much carbs, how much fats you eat in a day.
Let's see if I can get this right. I think it's around 40 grams of fat, I believe 40 to 50-ish. And then protein, I'm around the 150 plus mark. Some days I go overboard. But I think it's averaging around the 150. And then the carbs, I think is averaging around the 150 grams mark as well, I believe. So
Got you, got you, got you. So yes, that's exactly right. So listeners are always curious to see, what kind of macros is getting this kind of 35 pounds of fat loss and 10 pounds of muscle gain. And it's high protein. It's high protein and medium to low carbs and fats, right?
Right.
Chris, did you have any more questions?
My only question as it relates to this, right, and to kind of close here, a lot of clients when they first start, we give a meal plan, and the overwhelming thought is, oh my gosh, how am I going to eat all of this food? Because you're used to eating Chipotle, or I don't say that, but I mean you eat smaller, more high sodium filling foods, right? Then you come to something like us, and we're like, we need to feed you. Like, you need to eat more. Here, eat all these foods. And constantly the first month, first 3 weeks, it's like, I can't eat anymore. I can't eat more food. And now you're like, yeah, I'm hungry. It's time. It's like, all right, we need a feeding here. It's you know, tell me how that started off, the eating of the food. Because a lot of people don't eat enough, period. And then you come to our program and we tell you what to eat, which is right.
Right.
How was that, initial transition?
So when I first started and I saw the total calorie content and I was thinking this is not going to be enough food. But then I saw the number of meals. I was like, that's interesting that it's this many meals, but this is the total calorie content, because I'm pretty sure I used to eat that amount probably in one setting when I ordered Uber Eats. So it was around like maybe 5 to 7 small meals, including like protein shakes. And I was like, I couldn't get it down. I was eating maybe three to four. And then Kareem was like, I think I made a comment about not having milk at the house, almond milk at the house. And she was like, well, how are you eating your oatmeal if you don't have almond milk? And how are you drinking your protein shakes if you don't have almond milk? And I was like, I was full and I didn't eat it. She was like, I need you to eat like your food. And so it was a challenge at first. And it took a long time before I truly was able to get all of the meals that were designated down. And then, but that was at the beginning. Now I was like, I started adding extra, like, can I add an extra meal? Like, my metabolism has sped up, so I get hungrier. Um, and one thing you said about the results, I didn't mention like the VO2 max testing, like that now my optimal fat burn zone is like at 106. So I can pretty much do 106 taking a leisurely walk. And so if I'm burning fat, I'm able to eat more, and it's actually more fulfilling. Like, hey, I get to eat more by me eating more healthy things. And so it's definitely a change from the beginning of I'm trying to get down to 3 to 4 meals versus I can get down to 7. No
Yeah.
problem.
And that is metabolism, right? Most people, when they come to us at the beginning, the reason why you had the 25-pound weight gain was that your metabolism had tanked, right? So what happens that when we start to feed you and your metabolism is low, your body's just like, oh my gosh, this is a
Party.
right? But then the body is like, oh, party, like she's feeding me now, so I can let go of the weight. A lot of people think that the starvation diet is what they need to lose weight, and it's actually counterproductive. What you actually need is to eat food, right? To let your body know that, look, you don't have to go to starvation mode. I'm going to take good care of you. And when your body feels like it's being really taken care of, you'll be like, oh, I'll just melt away the fat, because I'm being nourished and I'm feeling good. So your metabolism, we should probably check your metabolism again, to see where it is now, versus when you started, because now you're eating all the meals that's on the meal plan, plus you want more. And we have given you more because we don't want you to lose any more weight. Right. We're pretty happy with our size 4. So tell us, as we wrap up this conversation, what is it that, after this 6 months, you like the most about the Fit Hidden Figure system? What is it? What resonates with you? When you think about where you're going to be 5, 10 years later, what do you think about this 6 months you will remember and take with you long term?
Well, it definitely is a lot, but I would say how being mindful and having a support system
Mhm.
in conjunction really, really helps you to achieve your goals. So I've learned how to eat appropriately, how to make sure I'm getting enough nourishment for my body, how not to splurge on things that excessively that I don't need to splurge on and still feel full and not feel like I'm missing out on anything. Um, and I guess my favorite part about the whole program has been the accountability. Sometimes it's a little challenging because you're like, oh my goodness, please just stop it. Like, don't ask me anymore if I did that. But if you did have it, it's like, it's for a reason. And you find out that a support system is so much better than trying to go it alone. So it's a lot of things I enjoyed about the program, the accountability, the results, seeing the DEXA scans and the improvement. But really it was you, Corinne, and you, Chris, you really kind of like cultivate like a family atmosphere. Like I'm your sister. I'm gonna say I'm little sis.
You're the princess. You're Princess Shuri from Black Panther. You're a little princess. We dress you up. We feed you. When you don't eat,
Yeah.
we trade you.
So
I mean, eating is so important to us. When you come train with us, it's like, did you eat? All right, well, here, sit down and have a meal. Like, we got food ready for you.
yeah, it's just like my family. Like, hey, it's like even though I'm an adult, they still treat me like this is still our little sister, and hey, let's feed her, let's give her what she needs. So creating that atmosphere, but in a way that's pushing you to be better, pushing you to improve, and pushing you to be accountable for what you said you wanted. Like you said you wanted this to achieve this goal, so I'm here to help you. And just I'll help you stay accountable along the way. So I would say that's what I've really gained from this program. And even after the 6 months or after I wrap up the training, I still have these things in my mind. And because we continue to have like the monthly health coaching sessions, and because once a Fit Hidden Figure participant, you're one for life, regardless of whether you finish your six
We don't
months.
let you go. Yeah.
So that environment and atmosphere has really been really, really beneficial and helpful for me now and going forward.
Awesome.
Well, I will tell you, it is our pleasure to work alongside you. You have been so diligent, and I get to see up close your discipline and your fortitude. And honestly, you're the type of executive I would entrust with my money, with your accounting, like, and what you do in terms of providing, you know, corporate tax services to clients. We can entrust you because you're disciplined, you're mindful, you walk in excellence, do everything to a certain level of integrity and excellence. You're truthful, you're the integrity, because we can give a meal plan and folks go off and do something else, don't tell us about it. but and you accept feedback very, very well. You know what I mean? I've never felt any way about saying, hey, Priscilla, let's do it this way instead of this way. And you just handled it like a champ, like a true champ. And I think that you've earned that Princess Shuri from Black Panther title fair and square, Moses or in-house trainer. I mean, we sat and we thought about all of your attitude to hard work and your diligence and your discipline. And we said, wow, it's just really amazing. And I would honestly, honest to God, trust you with my business because I see how you are with how you take care of yourself.
I appreciate that, Kareem.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, listeners, thank you so much for joining us and getting some insight behind the scenes on Miss Priscilla's 6-month transformation, losing 35 pounds of fat, gaining 10 pounds of muscle. I hope this was very informative to you, and look out for our next episode. So until then, see you. And thanks again, Priscilla, for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.